Jets fans, are you sure Robert Saleh was the problem?
Honestly, I don't really know at this point. Mike Williams will be out of a job soon.
Oh, I didn't know you were a Jets fan. Welcome back, everybody, to the James and Dame Show. I'm Will James.
I'm Josiah Damas, and I'm definitely awake right now.
Poor JoJo is sleepy. And this will be the Week 6 recap, as we will go over all of the games, hit on some of the news, and go over power rankings and see how things have changed. I guess we can get started off with the San Francisco-Seattle game Thursday night. Let's see.
Expected.
Yeah.
Niners tend to do well against the Seahawks. Seahawks have not looked good.
Past few weeks, yeah.
I guess highlights, the 76-yard touchdown for Deebo Samuel. And CMC looks like he's going to return by like that Week 10 bye for the Niners, so he should be back by then. That's their goal. Not much else besides I don't know what Prime was doing, but they cut to a Seahawks player puking on the sideline at some point during the game.
Lovely.
So that was a lovely visual for all the viewers specifically. So hopefully that was a good thing to see, I guess.
Embodying the fans. Yeah, it was a rough game. Well, it was close for most of it up until the end. I believe it was a use check touchdown, kind of put the game out of reach for the Seahawks. But if I remember correctly, Geno Smith has not beaten the 49ers since becoming a Seahawk, and I believe that is now through 9 matchups. I think he's now 0-9, 0-8, 0-9. Yeah, 49ers getting sort of back to form. Seahawks still kind of having offensive woes. Obviously defensive woes, letting up 36. But, the game was about to be expected, at least as we called it. So,
yeah, not much from that game.
Not too much. As we move on to the London game of Jacksonville-Chicago. And boy, oh boy, are the Bears starting to look good.
They are playing the Jacksonville Jaguars.
In London.
Yeah, in London, yeah. But hasn't looked too promising. Let's see here. I have seen somewhere that a player was saying that most of the team has quote-unquote given up. Doug Peterson will probably be out of a job very soon, notably because Jacksonville, the fans and the owner are not very happy with his performance recently. Chicago Bears, however, good place to be right now. 500. So they're looking to be pretty decent in the future. A Green Bay sucks chant broke out in London, even though they weren't playing the Packers. So I guess they're still living rent free in their heads.
This is true. Chicago is actually 4-2 though.
I meant to say over 500, but
okay, yeah,
over 500. So
yeah, so it was they kind of had a field day. 2 touchdowns for Kmet, 2 touchdowns for Allen. Speaking of Kmet, the Bears long snapper was injured, and the backup long snapper apparently was Cole Kmet. So he had 2 instances of scoring a touchdown and not being able to celebrate because, it might have been only the first one. I don't remember. I just know he had to go in there and long snap after they lost their starting long snapper. So,
fun.
Man with a bag of tricks. But we'll move back on to the main slate of Sunday games, starting with what? Houston, New England?
I guess we can start there.
Not
May
a pretty game.
Not a pretty game. People are. I mean, it's good to see some progress from May's perspective. However, people are acting like he's going to be really, really good immediately already. It's his first full start, right?
Yeah,
So
it was his first. Only other.
He threw an interception on his third pass attempt. So
yeah, he's not. He's not. It started really ugly, which is, it's what you're gonna get with someone like him who needed time to develop, and you're throwing him in like that. He did get better as the game went on, and started. It gave a lot more promise to that offense and that team than we had seen at any other point really throughout the year. He looked a lot better, I would say, again, gives a lot more promise than what you had with Jacoby Brissett out there. So
for sure.
Yeah, Texans kind of just blew him out of the water. It got a little close at a point, I believe. If I remember correctly, I don't know. It was a long weekend. But yeah, Houston kind of just blew him out. Patriots, you're just glad to see May make some of the throws he did.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm not hearing a lot of news coverage on the Texans being 5-1, but they are 5-1 now. They're one of the best teams in the league right now. So a lot to look forward to, Texans wise. I think the new Texas team has been kind of passed off, or at least for this season.
I'll get into that in a little bit.
However, we're going to go back to the the AFC North, with the Ravens hosting the Commanders. Very close game.
Yeah, it was a good game.
It was a good game. Both teams are now 4-2, which is not bad for either side. Commanders, obviously, that was your first real test. Being close to the Ravens, though, is pretty impressive. So I'm looking at this as, yes, it was a loss, but it was a good loss because you kept it close and you actually competed for once in recent memory. So
yeah, so it's good marks because obviously going into the week there was a lot of hype, but there was also a lot of question marks as to the validity of the hype because they haven't played a lot of competition. So going into this game, keeping it close against a good Baltimore team, if you're the Commanders, I think you still feel good because, all you're trying to do is show promise for next year and years for your future. Anything else you get is just an added bonus, but this, again, really helps with how young your team is to show you made a big step. News for the Commanders is they did unfortunately lose Jonathan Allen for the season. It's a big loss because he's
really good.
He's your top interior D lineman, so not a great person to lose. But
how long is he out?
Just the whole season.
This whole season? Oh, dang.
So
well, so not looking too promising there, but
team still looked good. Yeah, and you should. Commanders should be happy with that. Derrick Henry, another good game, and put the game on ice. So, yeah,
I agree. Now it's the NFC North. Green Bay Packers hosting the Cardinals. So this is what I was looking for from Love, was this kind of performance. So now I think they're fine. It was just a little sloppy ever since he got back. So I'm assuming it was just recuperating and everything.
Again, this is what you get with Jordan Love is it's going to have some sloppy play because he is aggressive with the ball in his hand. But the thing that I think makes this such a blowout win against an Arizona team that's been able to keep some games close. Arizona's been inconsistent, and to that you probably look at coaching and trying to figure out what's going on there. But you've lost blowout games and you've also upset teams, and it's it just at some point they have to flip their narrative around to where they look like a winning team instead of a trap team. But looking again at the Packers, yes, Jordan Love played well. Romeo Doubs came back and played. He had himself a really good game. And just all around, that Packers team played very well. And I'm not really surprised that this is the outcome, because this is the team the Packers can be, which is why they're scary. They just haven't shown it every single week, but they definitely showed it this week against the Cardinals. And yeah, scary.
Very scary. But NFC North is very competitive this year. We have all 4 teams looking from decent at worst to really good at best. So, NFC North, I'm very proud to see that happening for once, where all 4 teams are actually decent.
Yeah, all above 500, and 1.5 games really separating. 2 games separating. I don't know how that stuff works.
Detroit had a bye, so.
Vikings had a bye this last week too.
And then,
so
the
5-0. They're technically the best record. So it's like 1.5 games, I think. But yeah, it's tight division, and you really could see all these teams make the playoffs. So it's fun to see all of them kind of up there. But moving on
to a team that should make the playoffs after a performance like this, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Saints, 51 points. That's a lot in NFL standards. Normally in college football, you usually see some 60-point, 70-point games. It's very rare that you see a high-scoring game like this in the NFL. So Tampa Bay putting up 51 against the Saints. Jeez.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, so this game started off with Tampa Bay going up 17-0 and then blowing the 17-point lead, and then just completely taking off. Especially
adjustments.
Yeah, second half they just came in and played really well. Baker played well. I mean, to be fair, Saints were playing with Spencer Rattler.
He didn't do terrible, did he?
Not from what I saw, but it also wasn't like
it wasn't a great performance, but it was okay.
Eh.
Okay for his first start.
Yeah,
okay by rookie standards.
I was just saying, maybe you found your next Derek Carr. Yay!
Yay!
We'll see how he develops, and Derek Carr's return window.
Mm-hmm.
But
I did see the situation with the Tampa Bay Stadium being flooded overnight by Milton, but was like Wednesday through Thursday. So hopefully that area is doing okay now.
that is the hope.
What?
That is the hope.
That is the hope, obviously.
We're hoping everything's okay.
Hopefully not too much damage has been caused. I mean, I don't know the situation down there, but hopefully everyone's doing okay at the very least. Mm-hmm. I know there's been devastating news from that area, so
yeah,
keep thinking about them.
I think, just remembering, I think Chris Olave also exited that game, now that I think about it, with a concussion, I believe. So that also didn't really help. Shaheed had a good game, but other than that.
Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. So, Browns and Eagles. I got a couple things from that.
Sirianni?
Yeah, Sirianni. I don't know what has happened to him. He must have like CTE or something, because I don't know why he's arguing with his own fan base. Maybe it's just because he was just tired of all the back talk and everything, which is, I guess, fair, but also you haven't been doing well recently, especially with how last season ended. So Sirianni is not looking too, I don't know, not looking too great as a coach right now. So
yeah, I kind of chalk it up to he's from Philly. He's got the Philly mentality. Sometimes there's friendly fire over there. actually looking into this game, God, Browns are still in a lot of just really bad. No offensive touchdowns. They did have a blocked field goal return for a touchdown at the end of the first half. That was from Myles Garrett, who blocked it. It was a very athletic play. I haven't seen a lot of him this year, I feel like.
Because the team is bad.
The team is bad. What was the statistic that I saw? I think it was Deshaun Watson this year is over 25 on third downs.
Yep.
So
they have not looked great.
They're in a lot of trouble, especially on defense. Eagles, A.J. Brown came back. He had a touchdown in his return, but if you're the Browns, you're just waiting for Nick Chubb to come back, who is slated to come back week 7.
So this next week?
Yeah, that'll be next week. So Philly, you don't feel good about that game, I don't think. And Cleveland, you're still bad and hate everything. So
life sucks.
Suck it.
So we got the Colts and the Titans.
Yes.
Will Levis confirmed to be Spider-Man. There was a couple of things in that game. Calvin Ridley called out coaching because he didn't really get anything, and he wasn't really utilized until like the second half. He had 0 catches on the day. So Ridley is showing his frustrations. Titans are not looking too good right now. I guess besides Levis being Spider-Man, he also apparently collided with a ball boy, and the ball boy got carted off the field. So Levis is making his presence known.
His presence is known. Yeah, interesting stuff going on down in Tennessee. I don't really know. Obviously, again, Levis has not been great, but I think there's a lot of other things going on, especially because they still, coaching still has so much faith in Levis, would make me think that there's something else going on. They've been having issues. They kept it close with Indianapolis, though, which, for how bad you've looked prior, I mean, I think that's kind of a win, is not getting blown out by the Colts. It's a division game, so
it's going to be close regardless.
Well, you say that, but then we had the Buccaneers earlier.
True.
So
it's NFC South, or AFC South, so it's going to be a little bit different. I guess moving on, Chargers and Broncos. Broncos, it was bound to happen. Sure, you won 3 games in a row, but it was going to end at some point. Chargers looking pretty decent coming back out of the bye. Harbaugh looked to be a little out of sorts during the game.
Well, he had to go to the medical tent, and he going forward is going to be forced to wear a heart monitor. So, some health concerns there with him. He's had a few health scares over the years, so hoping everything is fine with him. But looking at the game itself, I'm not surprised, really, the Chargers won. The Chargers are a good team. They have a good, strong defense and a good run game. Broncos do have a good defense, but, again, they're very young, so they're going to make mistakes, and their offense is not up to the same level as the Chargers. But I think takeaway for Broncos, Bo Nix is looking better each week, I feel like, even though
he's getting more comfortable in the pocket. So
yeah, and he's maneuvering well, too. We had a nice Cortland Sutton catch for a touchdown. But yeah, it was, not too exciting. But if you're Denver, you're still putting pieces together. Chargers, you're a little bit further down the road on that rebuild than the Broncos are. So not surprised to see a win here.
And then Staying in the division, Las Vegas Raiders hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers. 32-13. That was kind of expected. Steelers fans who think that was a very heavy contested game, you're beating a dead horse right now. Raiders have not looked very good at all. And speaking of said Raiders,
Yeah, they're about to get worse.
They're about to get worse because Devontae Adams has now been in the final stages of making a contract with the New York Jets. So they are now down even more. So they're not looking too good. Crosby, this was blown out of proportion. Crosby shoving a coach on the sideline, but Crosby just reiterated it was just like a quote unquote love push. So
I've seen those before. Yeah. Again, takeaway: Raiders aren't good, and they're not going to get any better. You're without Christian Wilkins. Your only good real defensive piece is Max Crosby.
yes,
And looking at the offense, your main weapon in Devontae Adams. He's, like you mentioned, he's working through the process of getting traded. I believe it is a a third conditional, which could become a second. Raiders are just see what you got in Brock Bowers and some of those other young guys, but yeah, you're not in a great spot. Hopefully this doesn't reflect on Antonio Pierce, because I don't think there's anything he could really do with this roster going forward. You don't even really know who your quarterback is.
Yeah.
So it is what it is, but Steelers get a win against a declining Raiders team, very quickly declining. So
very much a declining team. I guess moving on from that game, now we have the Atlanta Falcons and Carolina Panthers. Dalton did all right. Falcons, here's an interesting stat. So A.J. Terrell, he had a first interception since 2021. It's been that long. He is currently the second highest paid corner on a per year basis. So for a corner to finally get his first interception in about 3 years' time, that's not a good stat.
Well, I think this is something that gets blown out of proportion just purely on when you look at the position itself.
Yeah.
Because look at the corners who do get a lot of picks: Trayvon Diggs, Deron Bland. What are their main traits? What are their main weaknesses? Is they get burned a lot, because corners aren't necessarily they get turnovers sometimes, but that's more of a linebacker, a safety, because they're usually more in zone coverages. Mm-hmm. They can be more ball hawks. Corners, they can get interceptions, but more importantly, they're not going for interceptions. They're going for pass breakups. They're looking for, or not to be targeted at all. Yeah. A.J. Terrell is a very good corner. He just,
he doesn't do a lot of interceptions.
Yeah, if you look at corners, again, it's not more about interceptions. It's more about pass breakups, deflections, and just how often the ball is thrown to the receiver they're guarding, which I think he does a very good job of. So it's with corners, it's not as much about interceptions. Now, sometimes you do get interceptions, because I think Pat Surtain is also a very good corner, and he had a game with 2 interceptions.
Yep.
Partially because quarterback was not making good plays, but very poor decisions. But you can't. It's not always down to interceptions with corners, and I think he's very good. It just shows that he, has forced the ball away from him, or other forced incompletions, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Falcons, kind of comfortable win. Still allowing 20 points, which, again, that's just the difference between the Dalton Panthers and the young Panthers, because at least Dalton will put up points that they won't really be close in the game, but at least they'll get up to like 20.
Yeah.
So,
Uh,
yeah, don't really know what the Panthers are going to do.
One side note that's not even about the Panthers, but former Panthers. Newton joins ESPN's First Take.
I did see that, and
So congrats to him.
I think he will fit in well there because he definitely has some hot takes.
He
So
definitely has some hot takes.
I think he'll fit right in.
Oh, fine.
And then going into the last of the afternoon games, was very anticipated and about what I expected in Detroit versus Dallas.
Mm-hmm. Some highlights and lowlights actually. They had a pretty cool flea flicker to Laporta. That was a good design play. On a low note, Hutchinson being out with a broken tibia, he will miss the rest of the season, which I am very upset about because I like Aiden Hutchinson a lot, so it was very sad to see him get off the field. So,
well, I mean, news is Lions aren't counting him out on returning at some point. I've seen different things because I also saw 6 to 8 months was his timeline to return, but also again, Lions coaches are saying they wouldn't count him out as returning. If he did, it'd probably be in the playoffs, probably later in the playoffs.
yeah.
Which I think the Lions still have a really good chance of doing, but like winning the division, and it'll be interesting to see because they're down now 2 edge rushers, so they're hit pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously that defense has stepped up elsewhere. The broken leg though was not pretty.
That video was pretty
unsettling. It was
If you're squeamish, don't watch it.
I feel like that's one of those card offs that I haven't seen in a long time, where it's just everyone goes quiet and he gets the whole stadium up as he goes off. It's one of those I feel like I haven't seen in a while, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's a little different, but as far as just how that game went, Dallas did not do well. Turnovers galore, not really able to move the ball very well. Meanwhile, Lions
easily could. Also, happy late birthday to Jerry Boy.
Yeah.
How's your birthday?
47-9 probably tastes real good.
Delicious cake.
Especially when you're the 9.
Also, Jordan Lewis. Come on. Do you have to go on Instagram and DM St. Brown saying "you's a whole bitch"?
Yeah.
Come on. If you're that salty,
Cowboys they're in a really bad spot right now because they're not looking good.
No.
Your best friend coming against the Steelers, but I mean,
even the Steelers game was pretty bad.
Yeah, they're not looking good, especially against an actual good team. Yeah, Lions just kind of did whatever they wanted. Goff had a good game.
Got manhandled.
Jameson Williams, big touchdown. There was almost a Penei Sewell touchdown, I think, that got called back.
He almost had a touchdown. Also, he was reported in twice as a receiver, too.
Yeah.
As he deserves. Moving on, though.
Go on to
Sunday night. Snooze Fest. I was the only one streaming. But he was in chat, so it was such a boring game.
Yep, it was not pretty. Offense really couldn't get it going, which isn't surprising because I think the Giants' defense has really stepped up over the course of the beginning of the year. But that
they are playing very well. My issue is that if you're going against one of the worst defenses in the league, you think you'd put up more than 7 points.
Well, missing Malik Neighbors really hurt. But yeah,
he'll be back for the Eagles match, so he'll be back very soon. Other than that, Giants just failed to capitalize on the Bengals' mishaps, and that's what cost them that game. So there's nothing much you can do to that except say why.
Yeah, Giants offense just not good, especially with them league neighbors, and that's basically what cost them is they could not do anything. So
It's another day. And then to Monday night, Hackett was replaced by Todd Downing as offensive play caller. Aaron Rodgers, with that Hail Mary towards the end of the first half, was pretty good. Back to his old form.
a little bit.
A little bit. Bills, I'm not entirely worried about their situation. Yes, they're 4-2, but they've only won against mediocre teams so far. They haven't won against any good teams. I don't know. They're still good with Allen there. It's just how good will they be? I don't know. A win's a win, though. Rodgers looks like he's kind of fed up with how much he's lost there specifically. But yeah, it's all for me.
Yep. Yeah. Jets just really need turnovers for Rodgers again. Kind of just coming at the wrong time and crucial in their loss. Buffalo again. You're 4-2, but like,
What do you got to show for it?
Do you feel great about being 4-2 with how you've played the past few weeks? Not really. But
We'll see how they look down the road.
It'll be interesting seeing these two play again when they have Devontae Adams, and we'll see how much that improves.
We'll see
How much the Jets actually. And we'll see if they'll make a playoff run. But that
Someone's got to win that division.
goes over all of the games. So we'll move on to power rankings.
Mine didn't really change that much.
Mine moved a little bit. I don't really remember where things went because I wasn't looking as much at last week. But some pieces remained, some pieces switched around. I'll start at number 10 though. I do still have the Bills there because you still got to win. It's still against Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. So while it's not like a super impressive game, still got the win.
Yes.
Looking all right.
Yeah. I actually have the Packers in number 10 right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, they replaced the Steelers. So,
Yeah.
I mean, with how good a performance it was against the Cardinals and how good the Cardinals can be, it was pretty good. That's why I bumped them up to 10.
Yeah. I mean, both teams kind of. Steelers were out to a slower start against the Raiders than the Packers were against the Cardinals. But yeah, I agree. I think Packers have looked really good. I do 7 through 9. I was kind of back and forth with, but I at number 9 dropped the Falcons down a little bit, mostly just because their win wasn't as impressive, and I moved some teams above them, so I moved them down to 9. Again, you still look good. You're a really good team. Just I think some teams earned a little bit higher placement just based off of how they played. Otherwise, it's like you played the Panthers, you beat the Panthers at least as much as you should have. So,
good job.
Yeah, there's not many comments to give there.
No, my number 9 is the Bills. So, I mean, they didn't drop out, but they didn't really move. So,
Yeah.
Number 8 though, what do you have?
I have the Commanders. I dropped them down. What was that? 2 spots because again, you played the Ravens close, but I'm still gonna leave them in there because Ravens are a good team, and I think you still earn some points. You lose a game, and that kind of if they would have won that game, maybe they would have moved up to top 5.
Yes.
That's kind of because they were, I think, 6 for me last week.
Yeah.
But you fall a little bit because you're not quite there. But I think as far as a top 10 team, I think they still deserve to be in that conversation. So I have them at 8.
I also have them at 8. So there you go.
Yeah, consensus.
Number 7.
Number 7. This is where I have the Packers. I believe this is still where I had them last week. Again, they kind of just reaffirmed what I thought last week, which was they are a good team. They play really well together as a team. It's not any just one piece. That team is very well put together. And when they're all flowing at once, you kind of see what that team can be, what they can do, and that is very scary. And I think they'll continue to move up. But again, some teams just played really well, and for that reason, they didn't really move for me. But they're
out there.
They're they're a fringe top 5 team right now for me. So 7 for me.
Yeah, when they win another great game, which is probably going to be next week, they'll definitely jump up a few spots from my rankings. But as of right now, number 7 is the Falcons.
Yeah, and I mean, again, the only reason I dropped them is just because it was like I think the teams that were above them just deserve to be above them more so. I think the Falcons, again, could absolutely be in that anywhere in that 7 to 9 range. Even 6 to 9 range, really. It could be anywhere in there. Those all could be interchangeable. They're all
arguable.
Very good teams week to week. It's just, differs. But I can see them being up there. I think that's where I had them last week. But again, just dropping them based off of more so the teams around them than how they played. My number 6, which is one of the teams that jumped them, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because, oh boy, did
they show their true might?
Yeah, they looked really good, really really good. Baker had a good game. Just the team can be really scary, and I had them underneath the Falcons last week just because the Falcons had won. Looking at it, I still think Tampa Bay, I still think is probably the better team. We'll see how that division finishes out because I think
it's very contested.
It'll be really good between those two
teams. Yeah.
So
I also have the Buccaneers at 6, so you're not alone there.
All right, cool.
But now we're going to top 5s.
This is where things get interesting. Number 5, I have the Texans.
I'm curious to see how you ordered everything else. I still have the Chiefs. They didn't really move because they had a bye.
Yeah. Texans, it wasn't like, I don't know. You played the Patriots. Didn't look like fantastic, but it's the
didn't deserve to be dropped that far, I don't think.
I only dropped them 1 spot.
Oh, that's right. You had a 1 spot. I thought you had a 2.
No, I had about 4 last week. So I dropped them 1 spot because, you played the Patriots. You beat them about how you should. But it's like,
okay.
It wasn't anything too shocking. Patriots aren't a good team. And they just started the rookie quarterback for the first time. So, And then you said you had the Chiefs still because of bye. So, number 4, I have the Ravens. I moved the Ravens up because they beat a top 10 team.
Mm-hmm.
And
I also have the Ravens at 4. It was a very convincing win. Commanders. Commanders are a good team. So.
Yep, they've been good. And, just feel good about how they've utilized their weapons. Getting some of those players actually involved. Mark Andrews actually getting more involved this week. So I just feel good about what they did, and I feel like it also just the way they've been playing. I feel like they're a notch above where the Texans are right now. So yeah, I have Ravens at 4.
Sweet.
Then number 3, I have the Lions because they played very, very good, very, very good team. Unfortunately, my 1 and 2 were on bye, and so I see no reason why they should be passed because I feel like they deserve to hold those spots. but Lions are right there. If either of those teams slip up, they're gonna move up. So Lions are just then slip up doesn't even need to be a loss, really.
Just be a sloppy win.
Although again, it'll be interesting to see Lions going forward. I wasn't going to drop them after this week at all for the Aiden Hutchinson loss, but you might see them start to slip down if they really show that they're missing him. So it'll be interesting. I have them at 3.
Yeah, I have the Texans at 3. I don't think my top 3 changed at all. So I have the Texans at 3. I don't know. I'm just impressed with that team. So there's no reason to drop them.
Yeah, I mean they win against good teams. It's just they win. Well, they definitely win against not good teams. It's just the games against good teams, they've not looked fantastic. But we'll see how they end up deserving those spots, if they really earn that top 3
spots or not
throughout the year. But
fair.
Again, a lot of this can be interchangeable. But yeah, number 2, I have the Chiefs. Again, they were on bye, but they continue to be a good team, and I didn't have a reason to drop them yet, although it was really close with how the Lions played.
Yeah, I have the Lions at number 2. I just think they're one of the best teams in the league. Obviously, the loss with Hutchinson is going to change that probably, but we'll see how they look. And then obviously, both of our number 1s are probably the same still. That will be the Minnesota Vikings. Yes, they're on a bye. They didn't really do much. So there's no reason to drop them. Just like the Chiefs for you and a few of the teams for me. So other than that kind of wraps up power rankings.
Yep. That will wrap up power rankings. Again, bye weeks kind of leaves 1 and 2 the same, and a little bit of shifting throughout it, but I think all my teams are the same. So, yeah, it was an interesting week of not many really surprises. I feel like that was the most predictable week, really.
Yeah, I had a 12-2 record in predictions, so
yeah, so
I was on a hot streak.
Yeah, it was about as vanilla as you get,
pretty much,
in a week of football. Least surprises, I think, all year. Least shocks. So,
surprise.
Yeah.
All right.
So we'll get out of here. Hope you guys have a good one. Thank you for watching. Go join the Pick'em League if you want. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever. And we will see you guys in Week 7 preview.
See ya.
Bye.